Hi, welcome back to our Algebra 1 video series. On this video, we're going to take a look at solving two-step equations in section 1.2 of our Algebra 1 curriculum. Most important thing to note when you're solving a two-step equation is that you're trying to get the variable term by itself. And that's the wrong button. That variable, if it is a two-step operation or a two-step problem, is going to be connected to at least one other number, and I cannot break that variable term apart until I've gotten it isolated on one side of the equation. So for example, on problem number 1, I've got 3x plus 4. I can't undo the 3x yet. The first thing I have to do is any addition or subtraction to get the 3x, the variable term, isolated or by itself. So we're doing our opposite or inverse operations again. I see plus 4. I've got to subtract 4. And now I have 3x all by itself on the left side of my equation. And now it's one step. Just I see multiplication, I'll do division. But the key here is that you need to isolate that 3x. You need to get that variable term by itself. So our first step is going to be any addition, subtraction, and then it would be multiplication and division. So if I look at problem 2, same idea. I see 5z minus 13. So I need to undo anything over here with the 5z. I need to get rid of a minus 13, so I need to do the opposite or inverse operation. I need to add 13. A little mental math tip for you. Negative 3 plus 13 is kind of hard to do in my head, but I can do 13 minus 3 much more easily. So I can kind of rearrange this in my mind and take that as a positive 13 minus 3, which is 10. So 5z is 10, or if I divide z, it would be 2. All right, why don't you try number 3 on your own? I'll give you a second there to try that one. Pause this video, try it, and then unpause when you're done to check your work. All right, so first thing we see is a fraction there, f divided by 4. Can't undo that yet. I need to undo any addition, subtraction first. So I'll add 9. I get f divided by 4 equals, well, 3 plus 9 is 12. So that must be 12.5. And just like we talked about in 1.1, a fraction is really division. So the opposite of dividing by 4 is multiplying by 4. So f equals, and here's another mental math tip for you, 12 times 4 is 48. 1/2 of 4 is 2. So if I have 12 and a half, and I multiply each part by 4, I get 48 plus 2, which is 50. Now 4 is a little bit different. So what we need to worry about on number 4 is what number is in front of that variable that's there but not being really shown. And the number that's there but not there but there is a 1. That's a negative 1. So what I see is a negative 1 times d. This is my variable term. I need to get rid of anything, that's a square, anything over here that is not the negative 1d. So if I'm trying to undo a positive 6, I need to subtract 6. That positive 6 was the only other thing that was on the same side of the equal sign as the negative 1d. So now I have 9 equals negative 1 times d. I see multiplying, I'll divide, and d would be a negative 9. All right, why don't you try 5 on your own, and then we'll look at 6 and 7 and 8. So let's pause the video, try the problem, unpause when you're done to check your work. All right, now 5, I see my first big operation going on is division. I see a fraction bar. So to undo dividing by 3, I need to multiply both sides of that equation by 3. And now I see x minus 5 equals 24. 8 times 3 is 24. And my last step, if I see subtraction, I'm going to do addition. Now 6 and 7 are very similar, but there's one thing that we're not used to seeing yet that we need to simplify. If I see more than one set of like terms, I can combine them. Now the 12 and the 2 are on the same side of that equal sign. So I don't need any opposite operations because I'm not moving anything from one side of the equal sign to the other. If they're on the same side of the equal sign, I can combine them exactly how I see them. So if I see a positive 12x and a positive 2x, I can combine those 12 plus 2 to get a positive 14x. And now it's just a two-step operation like the ones that we've done before. So let's finish 6 and 7, and then on 8, when you get to 8, I see multiplication, so the first thing I should do is I should divide on number 8. I should divide away that negative 4. So why don't you pause the video, try 6, 7, and 8, and then come back, check your work when you're ready. All right, so number 6, I see a plus 4 with my variable term, my 14x. So I need to undo the plus 4. So I'll subtract 4 from both sides. 14x is 35. What is that? If I divide by 14, is it 2.5, I think? On 7, I've got my like terms. Now notice that is a minus 4z, so 9z and a negative 4z is a 5z. Minus 5 equals a negative 5. I need to get my variable term by itself. I need to add 5 to both sides. 5z is 0, or if I divide, z would be 0. Kind of an unusual answer, but it still works. And like I mentioned before, on number 8, the first step should be to divide that negative 4. I see multiplication, I'll do the opposite of multiplying. Z minus 12 is a negative 13, so z would be a negative 1.